I'm Pamela Anderson Cooper, and this is 3600 Seconds. When you think of the most recognizable cartoon character of all time, a certain mouse comes to mind. But a little-known lucky rabbit is here with us today to tell us about how this beloved mouse got his fame by stepping on the ears of others. He wishes to remain anonymous, so to protect his identity, we have masked his voice and his silhouette and will be using pseudonyms for the duration of the interview. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. For the sake of anonymity, what would you like me to call you during the interview?
Hello, Pamela. Thank you for having me. You may refer to me as Ozzie the Forgotten Rabbit.
All right, Ozzie, let's jump right in. Why, after all this time, are you finally coming forward with your story?
It's really quite simple. For years, I worried I would be silenced if I ever came forward. I worried it would ruin my life more to tell my story if people didn't believe me. I've already lost so much to the mouse. But then I realized my life literally cannot get any worse than it already is.
Ozzie the Forgotten Rabbit wasn't always so forgotten. Back when he was first conceived, he was Walt Disney's golden child.
Okay, so what are we calling him again?
Ozzie.
Okay, got it. Ozzie was Walt Disney's first great success. He was the first cartoon to have a distinct personality.
And what personality was that?
Let me put it this way. Imagine the mouse if he were a little more egotistical or fallible. If the mouse is kind and compassionate, Ozzie is selfish and rude. It's no wonder why the studio decided to go in a different direction.
You know, with the way they talk about me, you'd think I'd made 2 animated films and it just didn't work out. That's not what happened. I made 27 movies with them. 11 years of my life wasted. I've had trust issues ever since.
So what ended up happening with the studio? If you were so successful, why did Walt Disney walk away?
I've asked myself that question every day since 1928, Pamela. My therapist says it's not my fault, that there were larger forces at work in the studio. But I can't help feeling like there must be something wrong with me to make Father leave that way.
Ozzie was notoriously difficult to work with. I wouldn't be surprised if his ego was the reason Disney left.
After leaving Oswald in the hands of Universal in 1928, Disney released a cartoon film featuring a whistling mouse that started it all, seemingly forgetting all about his once beloved rabbit. How did you feel when Walt left you to start a new cartoon?
I was devastated, Pamela. He was the only father I had ever known, and he tossed me to the curb like I was some kind of rat. And then to see him with that mouse!
So what happened to you after that? Where did you go?
Walter LANTZ at Universal was given control of my career at that point. He thought he could be my new father. Can you believe that? But you know what? He used to leave me in a cage all day with nothing but carrots. I mean, how insulting is that? Just because I'm a rabbit doesn't mean I like carrots. I should have been their biggest star, and there he was treating me like a house pet.
Yeah, I had him in a cage. You have to understand, when Ozzie first came into my care, he was a wreck. I didn't know what else to do with him. He kept lashing out at me and my animators. I still got the bite marks to show for it. Now those carrots were also laced with a sedative. That is definitely illegal now. Those were the good old days.
Walter LANTZ actually consulted with Disney about Ozzie. I imagine he wanted to be respectful of the history between them. Not to mention, Ozzie's tantrums were out of control. Disney ended up giving LANTZ his blessing to work with Ozzie, as well as some advice on how to handle him. Of course, at that point, the mouse had already grown far more successful than Ozzie ever would be.
Sure. The mouse might have eclipsed me with that groundbreaking of his with the whistling and the boat. But who do you think taught him to whistle like that, Pamela? I did. Father asked me to teach him, and then made him a star while poor Ozzie was left in the shadows with LANTZ.
I don't want you getting the wrong idea here. The cage was huge. It was more like a dressing room with bars than anything, and I made sure he had plenty of time outside as well. I tried to do my best by him, but he just shut me out from the beginning. I could never measure up to Walt. In his mind, no matter what I did, it was always, "You're not my real dad." You know, it's his awful attitude problem that ended up ruining his career. No matter how hard I tried to salvage it. Think of that.
In addition to his tantrums, Ozzie developed a major drug problem after Disney left. It destroyed his career as well as his relationship with LANTZ. He tried multiple times to get him into a rehab program, but Ozzie wanted nothing to do with them. LANTZ loved him like a son, but honestly, I think he had a major hand in the drug habit. We all knew what was in those carrots.
That's personal business between me and Ozzie. There's no need airing our dirty laundry. No.
When his off-screen fame faded, Ozzie fell on hard times. LANTZ, not wanting to further his addiction, cut him off financially, leaving him unemployed and down on his luck. Did you try to contact anyone for help when you hit rock bottom?
No way. I didn't need anyone's help. I may have been an addict, but I still had standards. Even when the mouse himself turned up.
He offered to help you?
Yes, he did, the sneaky little rodent. But I refused. I didn't want his blood money, or to stay in his fancy clubhouse with his perky little girlfriend. He probably would have used it against me later or something.
Ozzie, it sounds like the mouse was extending an olive branch.
Don't you get it, Pamela? Nothing is without a price with him. He just would have used it to get to know my every weakness so he could take me down again later.
Ozzie also suffers from acute paranoia.
So how did you get back on your feet?
All by myself, damn it! I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and worked hard for everything I have.
I got Ozzie a couple of comic strips. It was all that I could do. All that I could get. After his film career was destroyed, no one wanted him anymore.
The comic strips weren't actually all that bad. That's where I met Toby.
Ah, yes. Toby Bear. Can you tell me more about him?
It's hard for me to talk about, Pamela.
Take your time.
Toby was my roommate. We worked on the comic strips together. We were happy for a while. For 11 years, he gave me something to stay sober for. But, like every other good thing in my life, it came to an end.
Can you talk about what happened?
It was the mouse!
I'm sorry?
The mouse! He couldn't stand that I was happy for once. I came home from therapy one day to find our burrow empty, with no sign that Toby had ever been there at all. The mouse wiped him out of canon without an ounce of remorse.
I'm sorry, Ozzie. That must have been very traumatic for you. If you don't mind me asking, though, how can you be certain it was the mouse who did it?
It has his alliterative name written all over it. He's always resented that I was Father's first child. He may have been the golden rodent, but I was first, and he can never take that away from me, no matter how hard he tries to sabotage me.
Let me set the record straight right now. The mouse had nothing to do with Toby Bear's disappearance. He was simply written out of the comics in 1953.
So where is Toby Bear now?
He's in the animated character retirement community in Orlando, Florida. He's doing quite well, actually, from what I hear. He's looking forward to when Ozzie will join him once his video game gig is up.
So, is anything Ozzie has said during this interview accurate?
Look, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but no. No, it is not. He has always had a warped sense of reality.
Ozzie, Toby Bear is retired. He's in Florida. We confirmed this much before the interview. The mouse had no involvement whatsoever with his disappearance.
I knew it. He's everywhere. It wasn't fast enough.
Ozzie?
Who'd you confirm that with, Pamela? The animated character retirement community? Tuh! I should have known it wouldn't make a difference what I say.
Yes, I spoke with Iwerks, the executive director of the community, and he confirmed that Toby's been living there since 1953.
No, Pamela, that's exactly what he wants you to think. How can you be so naive? There is no animated character retirement community. Toby is dead. He's gone. The mouse killed him. He has the whole world fueled.
Is everything all right?
Shh. Did you hear that?
Hear what?
Oh, no. Pamela, you have to get out of here. It's too late for me, but you can go and tell my story. You can expose the truth.
Ozzie, has anything you told me today been true? Are you set on dismantling a global icon solely because you envy the success of his career?
There's no time for this, Pamela. He's here. Can't you see him? He's here now.
Tell us the truth, Ozzie. Tell us the truth.
You can do what you want with me. So leave her